Hey everybody, Akil Taylor here, back at it again with another video. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos. Thank you for your likes, your comments, and to my subscribers and future subscribers. Thank you so much. Today in America, we have sort of a housing crisis, a housing shortage to be exact, where there's not enough homes to meet the demand. Some people are saying that it is because you have corporations that's buying a whole bunch of properties, or you have people that owns a whole heap of properties, rare. But either way, there is a housing shortage. And one of the main reasons why is because America is not building the way we used to. So, because of my interest in real estate, I want to bring you guys a recent news feed from CNBC. Shout out to them. And they're going to discuss a little bit why America has a housing shortage and why builders are not building all what needs to be built. Let's get to the video.
The United States isn't building enough homes.
The amount of inventory that we've seen increase has taken the level of existing home inventory to 3.8 months. Normal is 6.
Builders completed over 1.5 million new housing units in the 12-month period that ended in July 2024. That still wasn't enough to end a housing shortage that's a decade in the making.
Not only were we underbuilding for a decade, but then you get to the pandemic and there's this massive rush on housing.
That's making home prices rise fast in many parts of the country.
So if you are waiting for that market to really dip, it's not going to happen. The reason for that is that we are so underbuilt.
Both 2024 presidential candidates have ideas to fix the housing market, but neither stance seems to prioritize a key underlying issue.
A lack of competition is also contributing to the low supply of housing.
Can politicians do anything about the housing shortage? And if so, why haven't they yet? For years, builders in the United States have made fewer homes than the U.S. needs. There are various estimates for the scale of the shortage,
which is estimated anywhere from 2 to 8 million. Some people put it at even 20 million housing units that we are short.
The shortfall in new construction sent home prices trending higher over the past decade. The typical newly built home in the United States cost about $417,000 in June 2024, a slight decline from 2022, when home prices averaged around $430,000. But the typical household only brought in around $75,000 a year in 2022, the most recent year with data available. Purchasing a home in many major U.S. cities would require over $130,000 in household income. Meanwhile, many people have depleted their savings following the pandemic.
Let's go back to that real quick. Look at what it's saying right here. Annual income required to buy the median home. That's the median home is the average home, right? In San Jose, California, you need $463,000 to afford the median home. That's crazy. That is out flipping rages. I'm surprised to see New York City at 186 because it is high in New York City. It is crazy. But this is the things that's going on. These are top 15. The lowest is Salt Lake, Utah. That's crazy at 134. If the average median household income is 76,000, that could mean that you have a husband and a wife only making like $38,000 each? Come on, man, that's crazy.
Meanwhile, many people have depleted their savings following the pandemic.
We're absolutely seeing a trend of consumers, home buyers, moving from California to the Southwest and Texas, moving from the Northeast to Florida and Georgia because of a lower cost of living, less state tax, better weather. About half of the new homes.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. So was it last month? Yes, last month, I went to Georgia because I was trying to bid on some tax liens down there. It was DeKalb, Georgia. Shout out to DeKalb, Georgia. Nice, beautiful people there, beautiful women there, all that stuff, all that good stuff. And it was a lot of people there at the auction. And it was a lot of people from New York and California. So they came with that New York money, that Cali money, and they bid up the properties. Properties that yesteryear would have probably gone for at auction, let's say between 50 and 100,000. There were people bidding up 2, 3, one person. When the property got onto the auction, as soon as they finished saying the parcel number, the person said $305,000. The house is only worth $360,000, but it was a beautiful property though. So this person's like, I paid that $305,000. It is crazy where it's a lot of people that's coming from these areas and that are messing up the other local economies that they're coming into. They are not doing or spending the money the way that the people in those local economies are spending it. They're spending that money the way that they were spending in California or the way they'll spend it in New York, for instance, and it's causing a lot of issues.
Home sales in the country are in 10 cities, and that includes 4 cities in Texas. It's much faster to get zoning and entitlement improvement. And so as that happens, then you can move it through the cycle faster.
Decisions from the Federal Reserve can affect the real estate cycle too. About 18 million households were priced out of home ownership between early 2022 and October 2022 as mortgage rates rose, according to the National Association of Home Builders. That economic tightening is slowing down the development of new housing too.
In the housing sector, investment stalled in the second quarter after a strong rise in the first.
There were fewer residential building permits issued and fewer housing projects started in 2024 than there were in 2023.
The expectation, of course, is that the Fed will lower their rates in September. And while mortgage rates don't exactly follow the Fed, they are influenced by what the Fed does. So a lot of summer potential buyers were waiting till fall to see if rates would come down even more.
Some big builders have offered deals on mortgage rates to help home buyers bridge the gap. For example, the home builder D.R. Horton offered some buyers in the Reno, Nevada area a temporary 1-year 3.5% interest rate in 2023 before it rises to market rates over time.
Most of the big builders have their own mortgage company. It's called a captive mortgage business. They can buy down the mortgage rate. That is an advantage big builders have that private, smaller builders do not have.
Okay, guys, you have to be very careful with that. And I know a lot of home builders are doing that, but let me tell you something, okay? So whenever you buy a freshly built home, you have to understand that the builder pays for the land. They pay taxes on the land. They're not paying taxes on the home. You will pay taxes on the home. So let's just say, for instance, you buy a freshly built home and you see the taxes is, let's say, $1,500. And you say, oh, wow, that's good. I could afford that. But what you don't understand is that you're paying taxes on the land. You're not paying that special assessment of the land and the building. And what's been happening is that some homeowners get sticker shock when they see, wait a minute, how my taxes go from $1,500 to $6,000. That little $4,500 increase, they may not be able to handle it. And then put on top of that, if you get one of them teaser rates from the lender or from the home builder, where you're paying 3.5 for 1 year, and then it balloons up to market rate of 6.5, you are done. That could be like over $1,000 just right then and there in expenses that you didn't account for because you didn't clearly run the numbers. And that's why we have to be very careful when we're buying property. We have to actually say to ourselves, wait a minute, are they paying taxes on the land, on just the land, or are they paying taxes on the land and the building? Because I know that's what I'm going to have to pay taxes on the land and the building. Be very careful, guys. Be very careful.
There were over 400,000 businesses building homes in the United States in 2023. The industry remains fragmented, but the biggest firms have advantages that are helping them increase their control of numerous local housing markets. Just 10 builders are behind more than half of the new homes in 49 of 50 metro regions in the United States.
We're seeing cities like Tampa as an example, where today the top 10 builders have more than 80% market share. That just makes it very hard for any new builder to get a foothold.
If you look at relevant markets, well defined for housing, then you see that in many places, it took the two firms that were merging from having 30% each to having 70 or 80 or 90% of the housing market. What's really critical here is the definition of a housing market. No matter how many developers you have building in San Francisco, if you live in the suburbs of DC in Virginia, those developers in San Francisco do not constitute a competitive threat to your market.
The largest 100 home builders in the United States were behind about half of new single-family home sales in 2023, according to researchers at Johns Hopkins.
The top 10 builders combined had 10% market share. Today, only 3 decades later, the top 10 have 50% market share. And Horton, the biggest, has 15% market share. So the concentration has been accelerating. My team estimates that about 2/3, 70% of the unit growth that the big builders are delivering is from acquisitions.
The two biggest home builders in the United States are D.R. Horton and Lennar. Both have outperformed the S&P 500 between August 2014 and August 2024.
Let's just look at that real quick. Two home builders has had a market share increase from mid 2014, 2015 to now of close to 400%. That's Lennar. D.R. Horton had an increase of 800%. That's crazy. That would be considered a monopoly. And you see, you know what? A lot of conservatives or liberals, they don't really like to talk about these things that's really causing problems in the American household or just in America, period. You have a lot of people who are just causing a lot of damage, and they are not even say a lot of people, a lot of businesses that's causing damage, and they are not really and truly helping the American consumer. It is a very sad situation. See, if we really had true radical Republicans, true Republicans who are fighters for freedom, we wouldn't have this. We would not have this situation. These companies need to get broken up. This is monopoly. There's no reason why companies should have a monopoly over things. And it's so sad. But guys, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to put the link in the description because I don't want this video to get too long. So I'm going to leave the link in the description. You can check out the rest of the video and you can make your assessment on what's going on and how things are either getting worse or how do you feel that things can get better. I personally feel that with the way things are going right now, if it keeps going this way, it is not going to get good. It's going to get worse and worse and worse because this is scary. We have a lot of these companies that are monopolizing, and what do you think they're doing? Since they're monopolizing, they'll start building less. And what happens to the home prices? It goes up more. And you, this unsuspected buyer, you'll buy that property thinking that you're paying taxes on the land and the property, but you're only paying taxes on the land. And the next thing you know, a year later, you get a special assessment from the government saying, hey, homeboy, hey, homegirl, this is what your taxes are supposed to be. Nah, If you really want things to be done, we have to come together as Americans and do what needs to be done and make sure we vote for politicians that are not going to have this continue to go. It's a serious problem out here, and we're not going to get any help unless we, the people, say that we want big solutions for these big problems. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. I would appreciate if you find the video informative, crazy, exciting, funny, or whatever, to like the video. Make some comments in the comment section. That would most definitely help me, especially with the algorithm. And last but not least, subscribe to my channel because I'm a new YouTuber and I'm trying to grow, but I can only grow with your help. Well, guys, there's some videos that'll pop up here. As you can see them. I would greatly appreciate it if you could check those videos out. That will help me out and that will help me grow if you like them and if that causes you to subscribe to my channel, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you guys. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Peace.